Hello. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this new webinar. When is the right time to apply to the Master of Advanced Management program? While people continue to trickle in, because we're only a couple minutes in and everyone's still joining, I think we'll go ahead and do some introductions quickly. And so that way no one will miss the core presentation itself. My name is Kate Navarro. I'm the Director of Admissions for the Management Master's programs, one of them being the MAM program here at the Yale School of Management. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Matt. Matt, would you like to do a quick intro?
Hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Lassance. I'm the Assistant Director for Admissions. Excited to be here and talk a little bit more about when is the right time to apply. I think it's a question a lot of people ask, and I think it's always tough to really know. I know some people want to apply early, get it done. Some people, they want to make sure everything looks good and may feel like waiting till the later rounds is a bad thing, and it's really not. So hopefully this helps a little bit as you prepare your application.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. And on the back end, we have our colleague Elena Heath, who is making all of her magic happen. So thank you to Elena as well. And to Matt's point, that's exactly what we're doing here today, is Matt and I are hoping to talk through our application timeline, the different rounds, things to consider when you're thinking about applying, where you are in your MBA journey right now, because that can determine when you're applying and when to apply. We'll talk through some scenarios and then really get to questions. Matt and I don't have many slides for this presentation, and so the big chunk of it will be Q&A. And so please use the Q&A feature at the bottom to submit any questions you have throughout our presentation. We'll get to those at the end. And then I do have some pre-submitted questions we'll make sure and get to as well. Hopefully Matt and I cover those in our presentation. But again, any burning questions, just go ahead and type those away and we'll get to those at the end. Let's jump in and get started. So we have two application pathways to the MAM program, our Master of Advanced Management program, a one-year degree program for post-MBA students. If you haven't joined us already for one of our information sessions, please do so you can better understand what the MAM program is, where Matt and I are really just kind of going over the application process itself today. So back to what I was saying, two different application pathways to the MAM program. You can apply either prior to starting your MAM or your MBA journey, your MBA program, or you can apply during and after your MBA program. So if you're applying during your MBA, you can also join one of the MBA programs that we have a concurrent degree option with. Matt and I'll talk through a little bit about that and what those programs are. But let's start here. Where are you in your academic journey? There's kind of three buckets here that we've put together. And so maybe you can identify where you are at. If you're currently thinking about applying to an MBA program, you haven't committed to an MBA program yet, which program are you going to apply to? Maybe you can apply to one of our partner schools and have joint admission and know if you're getting into the Yale MAM program a year earlier. And I'll talk through that in the next slide. Second kind of bucket is, are you currently enrolled in an MBA program? Did you just start your MBA program this past September? You're learning new things and you're realizing, oh, my program's just a little too short. I need more. Well, maybe apply to the MAM. And if you're at one of the MBA schools we have a concurrent degree with, that means you could come for your second year of your MBA at Yale, have credits transferred back to your MBA program, and then graduate with 2 degrees, an MBA and an MAM from Yale. Or last bucket, maybe you've graduated from an MBA program already. You're looking for a career pivot or just looking to grow in your current company. Also an option for you too. So regardless of where you're at in your MBA program, you can apply to the MAM. There's a pathway for you. So as I mentioned, let's dive a little bit deeper into what those are. So maybe you're thinking about an MBA program. You have not committed to one. You're still applying to them. Maybe you're hearing back. You can apply to the MAM prior to starting your MBA. We have 1+1 options with a variety of partner schools, and you'll see these listed below. If you're interested in applying to one of these MBAs, all you have to do is during your MBA application, let the MBA team know, hey, I'm interested in a 1+1 with Yale SOM in the MAM program. They'll guide you on next steps. What you will essentially do, though, is complete 2 applications. one to your MBA program, and one to Yale for the MAM program at the same time, simultaneously. What this does with these two applications is gets you two decisions, one from each school, essentially planning out your next 2 years. So if you get into this kind of 1+1 pathway, you know what you're doing for the next 2 years. You're attending your year one school for your MBA, your year two school for the MAM. Depending on the length of your program, sometimes those credits in your second year will transfer back. And so let's talk a little bit about that. But again, the 1+1 is really taking advantage of two degrees, 2 countries, 2 years, really that power of two. Okay, so the concurrent degree option. Maybe you're currently enrolled in your MBA. You just started your MBA. Maybe it's at one of these schools that we're showing a logo at below. You have a unique advantage to apply to the MAM. We'll walk through those application deadlines that are coming up. Get into the MAM and have those credits you're doing at Yale transfer back to your MBA, completing your MBA in a shorter amount of time, but really completing 2 degrees in a shorter amount of time. The advantage of that is really timing and condensing everything. You can also graduate from your MBA from your year one school and then come to the MAM. So you might still be in your MBA program. It's a 1-year program. You know you're graduating in May. You can apply now still to come to the MBA, MAM. Okay, and then last bucket is say you've graduated from your MBA. You can apply during one of our 4 rounds just as a concurrent degree student and come to the MAM after you've been admitted. So there is no time limit in terms of when you need to apply after you've completed your MBA. We typically say in recent years or within the past few years, the reason for this is that we really want you to be able to take advantage of your MBA learnings, have them fresh in your mind, be able to build upon them. The MAM is a building block for your MBA, not an MBA refresher, but really utilizing those skills and building upon them. That being said, we've had students who come after their MBA and they make the case for it. As long as you can tell us why it makes sense for you now, that's fine by us. And that's why we really don't limit how many years you have to be out from your MBA. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Matt so he can talk a little bit more about the timelines and walk you through our different application deadlines if you do want to apply.
Thanks, Kate. So, as many of you or some of you may know, normally or in past years, we've had 3 rounds. And that first round is usually early January. We actually decided to change that up a little bit this year and add a 4th round. And we actually decided to kind of bring that round back just to give students or give applicants who are admitted an opportunity to get started on things even earlier. We know that there's a lot of things going on. You want to figure out, where am I going to be living? What am I going to be doing? You know, all of those important questions, making sure visas get done. So we added an earlier round. So our new round 1 is going to be December 1st of this year. That round is open exclusively to students who come from any of our GNAM partner schools. And I want to make sure you understand that means you could be graduating this year, you could be graduated, 10 years ago. You can still apply in that round 1. Same thing with any students that, may be currently in their program and are looking to, add our portion of sort of the 1+1 or concurrent degree. You can definitely continue to do that. Then we have our round 2, which in the past would have been our round 1, but now round 2 is open up to students or applicants from all across the world, from global business schools all across the globe. You can now apply in early January, and that round is January 12th, 2026. That's going to, again, allow students to get started with the planning phases, make sure visas, housing, all of those important things are figured out. And it gives you more time to get set up, and it also allows you to know, hey, here's what's going to be happening. How do I need to, start preparing, start making connections and building all of those in. Then, of course, we've got our round 3 and 4, which is going to be February 23rd and March 30th. So all of those rounds 2, 3, and 4, open to applicants from all across the globe. Round 1, again, is exclusively for GNAM partner school students. And I want to make note again, I know Kate will probably discuss this in a couple minutes, but remember, just because you apply in round 1 doesn't mean that you're guaranteed admission. Just because you apply in round 4 doesn't guarantee that you're going to get denied. We've got scholarship available in all the rounds. We have seats available in every round. If you put together a good application, you have a good chance of being admitted. Now, I want to follow up on that just because I think it's great to see when the round deadlines are, but just to give you a little more context of when you're going to hear back on things. So, after each round deadline, applicants will hear from the admissions committee roughly 1.5 months later. And that's when you're going to hear back with kind of that decision. So, in between that, we're going to go through the interviews and we'll be sending out those emails, reviewing applications as they come in, but we're going to be conducting interviews over Zoom. You don't need to, set up a flight out to Connecticut. We'll set up a time on Zoom for you to connect with myself, Kate, our boss Camino, or our other partner, the senior associate director, Evelyn. And we'll have an opportunity to sit down, interview you for about 30 minutes, and just kind of learn more about your application, yourself, your interest in the program, ask any questions we have. Really fun opportunity, I think, for all of us. And then after we do that, we go through our decision release. And then usually there's around 3 weeks in between that decision release and enrollment deadline when we need to know if you plan to enroll in the program. And then again, if admitted, students will find out your merit-based scholarship immediately with that admissions decision. And then we do have, need-based financial aid and some of that, which shortly after you receive that decision, you'll have the opportunity to start going through that application process. And with that, I will pass it back to Kate to talk a little bit more on some of the things to consider.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Yes, so obviously here's a list of some things to consider, but everyone has their own list of things to consider when doing the program, when applying, when to apply. And so I'll talk through some of these kind of main themes to consider, but please know that there are other areas I'm not touching upon. So let's talk a little bit about application readiness, what this means. Matt mentioned we have 4 different rounds. There are seats available in every round. And so you should pick the round that makes you feel the best about your application. When you feel your application is ready, when you feel like your test score is solidified, your recommenders are all in line, your essays are ready. If your application's almost there and it's December 1st and you're almost ready to submit, but you're just feeling a little hesitant, then wait until round 2, wait until January. There is no problem in waiting besides time. And that's, can be on your side as well. And so pick a time that works best for you and choose the round that makes you feel the best about your application. Financial planning is extremely important regardless of timing. You're taking on a second degree from your MBA. And so you need to think about, how am I financing the Yale SOM MAM program? We do offer merit-based scholarships, as Matt had mentioned, for our candidates. There is no application required other than your application to the MAM. We will take a look at that. We will utilize that for your merit-based scholarships based on the entire application, not just one piece, whether that be a test score, a GPA, whatever those numbers may be, but the whole thing. Then, if admitted, you do have the option to fill out a need-aware scholarship form. What this does is it gives our admissions committee a sneak peek into your financial need, making us aware of what that is, and we will work to try and bridge that financial gap. So between your merit-based scholarship, your need-aware scholarship together makes that really tailored financial aid package we're trying to create for you. But again, thinking through financial planning, you need to also think about loans maybe in your home country, scholarships elsewhere. Those have timelines that tend to be outside of our application rounds. And so just paying attention to other funding options and how you'll be funding the program. Thinking of financial planning also, we don't offer full ride scholarships. And so you do need to think about how you'll be supplementing that tuition figure. Visas is extremely important. If you've watched our our information session, you'll realize that the majority of our students are international passport holders. Not a requirement. It just happens to be that way because we are recruiting from international business schools. But what that means is many of our students come on F1 student visas and they need time to apply for that visa. Unfortunately, we saw this past year, we had a lot of delays. And so looking ahead to this coming year, we're anticipating those and telling students to apply earlier if you can. only for the planning purposes, being able to secure your visa earlier, to secure your visa appointment earlier. Those are all peace of mind as you're thinking about moving across the world to the US. And so applying in those earlier rounds gives you the advantage again of time for certain things, including visas. Housing as well. If you apply in round one and round two, you're going to be meeting that on campus housing deadline. If you do want to consider on campus graduate housing at Yale University, they fill up extremely fast. And those applications open in early April. And so if you apply in round one and round two, you'll know by early April if you're coming to Yale, if you need to apply for that on-campus housing, and hopefully get into on-campus housing as well. Many of our students don't take advantage of on-campus housing. It tends to be a less expensive option, I would say, other than renting within New Haven. Many students take advantage of that as well. And so just thinking about your housing options and getting ahead if you do want on-campus housing requires applying earlier. Thinking about the year you plan to enroll, what does that mean? Many of our MAM students come with family, that might be a spouse, that might be children as well. And so we are a very family-centric community at Yale, at SOM. And so you'll definitely find, partner community here. But what that means also is planning that out. If you're planning on moving your family, this might not be the right year to apply. You might need another year to really plan that out. And so wait, that's okay. And we had said earlier, no matter how many years you're out from your graduation, as long as you can make the case for why that makes sense now, and maybe it comes down to family planning. And this year just isn't the right time because you don't have all your ducks in a row. So just thinking about that as well. And then lastly, our program start date is August 17th, 2026, this coming year. We do a 2-week mandatory orientation period for all admitted students. All incoming students need to be on campus for August 17th. I'm saying this so you can plan ahead now. We haven't even made it to 2026, so you have plenty of time to plan that out. But as you're thinking about your summer plans after you graduate from your MBA, potentially, depending on where you're at in your MBA, know you have to be on campus for August 17th. Okay, let's talk through a couple scenarios and then we'll get over to Q&A so we can really talk more about, what you want to know about and the questions that you have. But I'm hoping some of these scenarios will help lay it out too. Maybe you can put yourself in one of these scenarios and I can help answer some of those questions on when to apply. So talked a little bit about this. Maybe you're exploring programs and thinking about applying to an MBA. Well, we hope you consider one of our partner schools, whether that be a 1+1 applying early prior to your MBA, or a concurrent degree school where you can apply during your MBA, having those credits transfer back. Another scenario, maybe you're currently in your MBA, you just started in September, you just found out that your school has a concurrent degree option and you can do a double degree with Yale SOM. Fantastic. Talk to your MBA program office. We're connected very closely with many of them all over the world, but especially our global network school partners. Get in touch with them, start looking into the application now, start applying. You're a month away from our round one deadline. That is plenty of time to put together a solid application and apply December 1st if you'd like to get started now or wait until January. Maybe you're currently in your MBA. Maybe you just came to Yale for Global Network Week, got to meet Matt because he gave a nice presentation during our October Global Network Week, talked to a lot of candidates. Maybe you're joining today. Well, great. Now's the time to apply, right? You have plenty of time to do so now, or finish out your first semester in your MBA if you want and apply in January, in February and March later on as well. But we're hoping if you did attend Global Network Week, you had a great snippet into what your experience at Yale SOM could be like. Okay, maybe you graduated from your MBA program 3 to 5 years ago. We would consider that, I guess, a recent graduate in terms of graduating from your MBA, and you're looking for a career pivot. Career pivots can look like anything, and so I don't want to assume what your particular career pivot looks like, but you're thinking about something different. The MAM is a great chance for you to come and explore that topic more. Take advantage of our elective courses. If that career pivot is moving from consulting into fintech, then come and take all the fintech courses you want to take at SOM. Or maybe you are starting an entrepreneurial venture and you need some more, solid foundation to be able to do so. Come and take advantage of our entrepreneurial resources, our centers, all the courses we have as well. It's never too late to really dive deep into a particular topic and become a specialist in that area. Maybe you're a student attending, I chose an MBA school, HQST in Hong Kong, and you're thinking of applying on what round to apply in. HQST is one of our global network schools. You can apply December 1st. Get in there, start that application, and start applying now. If you just met with my colleague Camino, who's still in Asia and just visited HQST, just found out about the MAM program and you're exploring, that's okay. Wait until January or February to apply. You don't have to do it necessarily on December 1st. Another scenario, say you're attending or you haven't attended yet, HEC Paris, but you're applying. You can apply to us now before you even start your program. So lots of different scenarios depending on the school you're choosing itself. And so if you know what school you're applying to or you have a question about a particular school, throw it in the Q&A for Matt and I to answer, and we can talk about any various schools too during this session. Okay, last scenario. Say you're applying and if admitted, you're wanting to live in on-campus housing. I did cover this. Apply in round 1 and round 2 because on-campus housing fills up quickly. And oh, did I freeze? Oh, sorry, Matt. I think I came back. If you're thinking about on-campus housing, go ahead and apply in those earlier rounds. Okay, I think with that, we're ready to go over to Q&A. So please go ahead and use the Q&A function so you can get all your questions answered by Matt and I. Join us for another event with the QR code on the bottom as well. You can get a chance to join us for our upcoming alumni panel webinar. Very excited about that. Or you can connect with us over email, advanced.management@yale.edu as well. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation. But again, Matt and I want to get to your burning questions. We have some pre-submitted questions as well, and please use the Q&A feature so we can get to those. Okay, while we wait for some questions to come in, maybe Matt, I can throw one of the questions at you that was pre-submitted. So someone had asked when applications are evaluated. Is this on a rolling basis? Is it after each round? When are we evaluating applications?
That's a great question. So when the application deadline hits, hopefully everyone has submitted their application. We do understand sometimes there's a recommendation letter or something that comes in at the last possible minute or a day late, and that happens. But once those applications are in, and the application deadline closes, we're starting to read. We're reading all those applications. And as we go through them and whatnot, we figure out, okay, who do we want to interview? Who are we going to pass on? All of that fun stuff on our end. And we continue to read throughout the I'm going to say the time frame before decision time. We do, I would say, would you say maybe a week or two before we start to do interviews, or we'll, try to get all of our interviews wrapped up. That way we have a little time for notes and reflection and all that and figuring out, where we're going from there. But we continue to read throughout that time frame. So if you don't hear back right, within the first week after the deadline, that's okay. We're continuing to read applications and we get a ton of them. So don't feel like, hey, I haven't heard back in the first week or the second week, what's going on. We continue to read, we continue to review, we're continuing to, invite people to interview throughout that time.
Absolutely. A great question that came in is, how do I know if I'm overthinking the essays? I loved this question because I tend to be an overthinker, and so it's easy to overthink sometimes. And so I was thinking about the best way to answer this. And I think what I would do is maybe look at the question and put together 2 bullet points, 2 or 3, whatever works, 1, 2, 3, right? About answering the question. So first, just answer the question. Maybe you got like 2 sentences to answer the question, then build on that. Outside of that, There is no perfect answer. We are not looking for the right answer. We are looking to get to know you as an applicant. And so those essay questions are a great way for you to talk about who you are. Don't walk me through your resume, please. I'm reading your resume. I can absolutely digest it. I want to know more of the meat and potatoes, right? The more things about you in those essays. So there's no need to overthink. If you're answering those questions, build upon that, you're solid. Another piece of advice is have a friend read those essays. Don't ask for necessarily feedback on making it, them reworking it for you, but it's a good way to know if you've answered the question, right? Do a reverse, have them read it and say, what was the question I was being asked? And that's a good way to maybe know if you've answered that question.
And I think to add on to that, definitely a big recommendation for me. Work on your essays, and then I believe it's end of this month or early December. Usually, we have the app tips webinar. I think it'd be early or end of November this month since we have the earlier deadline. Come to that with, hopefully those essays completed or almost completed. Listen to everything we're saying, we're sharing, we're, offering. Think about your essays and honestly reflect on them and think, does this fit what they're saying? I think a lot of times, as Kate mentioned, people get into the mindset of they want to have the perfect essay for Yale, and sometimes that doesn't always reflect who you are, and it's not always you being your authentic self. We want to see that authenticity. We love seeing, someone shine and someone being able to showcase, their best self. And I think that's what's ends up making people so memorable. We know people love Yale, we know people want to come to Yale, we know all those things. But when we see those essays that stand out, because someone's authentically excited to share who they are, it stands out so much to us.
Great advice, Matt. A question came in, and this was pre-submitted as well. And so I don't know if this is a build-off, but this is a great question. And I think it's a question I get a lot of the time, and I'm sure you do too, Matt, regarding test scores. And students want to know, is my test score good enough? Is there an average? What should I be aiming for when applying? I'm this is a hard question, right? Because it's also a little self-reflection, right? And so is your score good enough? Maybe. Is it good enough to you? Maybe. But my point being here is we don't have a minimum, we don't have a range necessarily. We're looking to find out who you are and why this program fits so well with you. And so that might not be indicative in terms of your GRE or GMAT score. What is that you've completed an MBA program successfully from a top school. You were able to get through that MBA program. And so those are the things we're looking at. And so don't determine if your score is good enough. Submit your application and make your application good enough. Your score is a supplementary piece to that. That all being said, I know everyone wants to know particular numbers, and so you should obviously try and do your best. Our candidates are coming from all over the world, and we realize that resources aren't always the same in every part of the world either. And so those test scores may show differently. And so that's why I'm saying show your best self. Don't focus so much on your test score. Do the best you can, submit what you can, use the optional essay if you want to talk more about it, but don't put so much weight on it where you don't feel like you can tell your story.
Let's see. I'm seeing a question. If they prepare for the third round of applications, well, I definitely missed the dormitory application deadline. So most likely, unfortunately, there is a limited amount of on-campus graduate housing, and it is something that, uh, I would say round one, maybe round two, has an opportunity to potentially get in for that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bit of a lottery system, and you kind of just you have to get online and make sure that you are in early and working on all that. But round three, most likely, unless something falls through, and even then they might have a wait list. Now, that being said, I would hesitate to guess at least 80%, potentially probably over 90% of our students live off campus. Now, what is off campus? Many cases, it's about a 5 minute walk, maybe a 10-minute walk from Yale SOM, which is kind of funny. So when it comes to that on campus, off campus, there really isn't, it's going to be a little bit, I would say, more one-stop shop because everything just goes through Yale then. So it's a little bit easier on that front, but there are a lot of housing options within the New Haven area. I know pretty much all of our students live off campus. And one thing I will note with that, when you are offered admission and everything, we try to help kind of kickstart that connection point and help you with some of these things like the housing. So in your admitted student portal, we've got helpful information on housing, New Haven, just general information on the area. We also try to connect you with some of our current students in a variety of ways. And our hope there is that you're able to connect with them and kind of ask them some of these questions and figure out, hey, how did you find housing? What did you do to get comfortable in the area? Where do you go grocery shopping even? And it's actually funny enough kind of turned into many of our students passing along housing to the next cohort. Many of our students are able to kind of talk with their landlord and talk with the incoming students and say, hey, I know a great student that's coming in. They'd be, same program as me. And oftentimes it's great. The landlord doesn't have to do too much to, get the place rented. And if that student was happy enough to say, hey, I think this would be a good place to live, it makes it super easy to kind of find housing and continue to have that ease of living in New Haven.
Great answer. Shifting gears a little, this is more about careers. So someone had pre-submitted a question about asking if we have partnerships with companies who offer job opportunities to our students. And so, yes, absolutely. Our career development office spends a lot of time developing relationships with companies, top recruiters. I mean, we have a whole team within the CDO who does that relationship management with recruiters, building those relationships so that they come and continue every year to recruit our amazing Yale SOM students. And so, yes, we have partnerships with companies, and then we don't have partnerships with companies who still come to Yale SOM. So it's a little bit of both. But to learn more about our career development opportunities, join us for one of our info sessions, or feel free to shoot us an email so we can talk more about any specifics that we can help answer in that area. Someone had asked a pre-submitted question, Matt, maybe you can answer, asking if this MAM program is for students to complete during their MBA or after their MBA, which I know you and I answered, but still we'll answer it again.
So in many cases, it ends up being after you've completed your MBA. We do have a couple of partnerships where, as you're completing that program or, your program at, I'm going to say school A, you're coming to Yale, you're earning credits, you complete the program at school B, which would be Yale, and those credits transfer back to school A and allow you to complete that degree while also completing the MAM. In many cases, though, you are completing your MBA program and then coming to Yale. But I believe on that slide, maybe 3, I think, we've got our 1+1 and concurrent degree programs. So if you are part of those schools, take a look, ask some questions, because depending on the school, you may be able to earn credits from Yale that will transfer back to your school, and in some cases, kind of go towards that degree while also earning your MAM here. Hopefully that answers the question, but if you want to add on to that, Kate, just a little bit.
No, I think it does completely, Matt. I just wanted to pull up the slide that you were referencing. A good example, maybe we should put that at the end too, because then I forget, which schools are doing which thing. But here you can see an overview of the things Matt and I are mentioning, right? The schools where you can apply prior to your MBA, the schools we have concurrent degree programs with, so you can understand if it is, as Matt was saying, applying after you've graduated your MBA or during. So hopefully that helps as well. Let's see, we had a question come in. Do we help with visas as well as provide internships? So good question, because these are questions we get often. Maybe I'll do the latter first. We don't offer internships as part of the MAM program, especially in the summer prior. You would come as an MAM student in August. That's when you would start your program. And so anything prior to that regarding internships would be up to you. Following the MAM, our students do qualify at this moment for OPT, or optional practical training, where you can stay in the US and work. That's not necessarily an internship. You have to still get a job. And so to your question about internships, no, for the MAM program. To your first question about visas, absolutely will help you with your visa process. Obviously, there's still a lot that's on you, right? To do the process. We're here to support you. And so, what that means is we have a dedicated excuse me, office at Yale called the Office of International Students and Scholars. OISS is the acronym. You can go on their website. They will outline everything you need to do to get your visa. A little snippet, what you will do if you're admitted, you'll submit your financials to us. We'll send them to OISS. OISS will process your I-20. They'll send your I-20 back to you. Then it's up to you to pay your SEVIS fee, to get your visa appointment, to get that visa. We're there still supporting you the whole way, answering questions. OISS is also always there with an advisor to help should you have any questions in the process at any point.
One thing I would add to that, make sure you're on top of your visa early. I think this is something that, there's a lot of things going on in the world that we can't control. The one thing that we can control is when we start that process, and the sooner you start it, the sooner you get back all the documents, the sooner you can start trying to get that appointment. And we know sometimes it can take a couple months potentially to get an appointment. So be on top of that as soon as you have the opportunity to be.
Right. We had a student submit a question asking if they should apply for external scholarships or if they can get a scholarship. I know I touched a lot on the scholarships that we offer, but Matt, maybe you can answer that first question is, should I apply for external scholarships?
I think it's very worthwhile applying to external scholarships. As Kate mentioned, we do not offer full rides. We've got the merit-based, we do have need-based, but with that, looking into a variety of options. There are Coca-Cola offers scholarships, but there's also things like the Fulbright scholarship. Many countries are offering their citizens different financial aid or scholarships to kind of help them get more education. I believe there's several countries that are offering basically, you go and learn, you come back and you give back to that, your home country's economy and to the people of your home country, and it kind of gets forgiven. So there are a lot of opportunities outside of Yale to get additional aid, and I think if especially as you're looking at it, you may want to consider an earlier round. That way you can start working towards some of those scholarships a little sooner. But there are a lot of scholarships outside that oftentimes can be even more than the ones that Yale is offering just because they want to encourage you to get more education. The other thing I would mention, I know we've had a couple students do it, look into, if you're currently working, look into your company's opportunities when it comes to education. A number of companies have, either sponsored applicants or students or helped out with different financial things and given the opportunity to kind of take a 1 year, I think it'd be sabbatical or break, and come learn and then go back to the company and, continue to work there and grow. So definitely look into those outside opportunities because there's a lot of them that are oftentimes overlooked.
Great answer, Matt. Well, we don't have any more questions submitted. Please, Matt and I will hang around for another minute or so if there are some more. I don't know if we have anyone in this group with us who is considering applying to an MBA. And so you're exploring the 1+1 option with us. This is relatively new. If we do have anyone in that group, Matt and I are happy to answer questions in that realm because, like I said, that's a new application pathway for us.
And if there's something, I'll kind of throw this out there. I was working on it last night. We've got, I believe, all of our new admissions ambassadors uploaded to the website. There might be one or two that I'm just waiting on a photo or bio for, but those have been uploaded. Take a look on our website at some of our admissions ambassadors. As you're going through and you're thinking about, why do I want to apply? And you're kind of considering those things. Talk to some of our current students. Talk to even some of our alumni. I try to leave the year or two prior because I look at it as you can ask someone who they've been working for a year now or 2 years and, reach out to them. How has the program, helped them at that point? How has the program helped our most recent graduates? And what are our students doing right now? I think it's really great to get different perspectives reach out to those students. They want to help. They're happy to share their experiences and talk further. And they can give you a lot of great information on, you know, when is the right time to apply, as well as how to create the best application, because they created great applications that help them get admitted.
Very good advice, Matt. And you put a lot of time into those admissions ambassadors, and they put a lot of dedication and time back in on wanting to give back. So they're a great resource. We had someone submitted a question as a 1+1 applicant. So I'm really glad that they did. Thank you for doing this. I think this is a fantastic question. So the question comes in that this person is applying to a 1+1 program with one of our global network schools for their MBA. Fantastic.
Mhm.
They're right. There's no guaranteed on getting admission to the MBA. Is it okay to apply to the MAM only after I get admitted to the MBA at the GNAM school? Absolutely, yes. So that's what we want. So the MBA is a prerequisite to the MAM. And so if you're applying through this 1+1 pathway, this early admission pathway, you have to get into the MBA program in order to get into the MAM. So definitely, if you want to wait to find out that you've been admitted to the MBA prior to submitting that MAM application, that's okay. Many of our partner schools, I'll pull that slide back up for our 1+1s. Many of these partner schools, you're going to be following their application deadlines, not ours, not the ones Matt walked through where we have 4 deadlines. If you're a 1+1 applicant, follow the MBA program's deadlines. Focus on that and then apply to the MAM. It's going to be on a rolling basis. Our application stays open until the end of the year. And so you'll get to submit it. Stay in touch with Matt and I too, right? Write us in the inbox, advanced.management@yale.edu. Introduce yourself to us so we can keep an eye on your application and help you through that process of submitting that MAM application. But back to your question, yes, wait till you get into your MBA, then apply to the MAM, even if it's simultaneous in the same year. Great. I don't think we have any other submitted questions. Matt, do you see any others?
I don't. I think that's all of them.
Okay. Well, hopefully Matt and I covered everything you need to know if you are interested in applying. I'll throw up our application deadlines just real quick once again. We are about a month out from that round 1 application deadline if you are a candidate from a global network school. If not, don't worry. You get you get an extra month, right? A little extra time. Get through the holidays before you submit in January. But like I said, reach out to us at advanced.management@yale.edu anytime. We're happy to answer your questions. We want this application process to feel smooth and to feel comfortable. And so that's what we're here to help do for you.
Oh, and before we leave, make sure you sign up for the alumni panel webinar. We have that coming up with some of our recent graduates, and it'll be a great opportunity to not only hear a little bit more about their journey, what their process was like with picking classes, recruiting, all that fun stuff, finding housing. So definitely come to that. It'll be a great opportunity, and you can ask questions even. So join us for that. I believe that is next week. So
Wednesday, I
I
think.
think so.
Yeah, next
It's
Wednesday.
coming up fast. That's all I know.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that, and I know our alumni appreciate it too. Them putting in the time to come and speak to students. So it'll be a great webinar for everyone to join. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, wherever you're at in the world. Yeah, we hope to see your application this year. Thank you.